Speedway. They're lean. They're mean. They're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars. We are into the home stretch of the 2025 spring season for the Coast to Coast Racing League before we hit to a summer party. And we're looking forward to this one, that's for sure. We've got our favorite 3 divisions on hand in another edition of Monday Night Madness. Renegades and Rebels. The sprint cars will take shape later on, but we also have as well the Open 358s taking shape here. Our Open 358s brought to you by Venom Racing and Full Throttle Motorsports. Glad you could join us on the Coast to Coast Racing Network and Slide Job Racing Network once again. Apologies for missing out with you all last week. Marty Sakala with you, but a good season so far. The point standings start to shape up really well, and it's really come down to 2 drivers left in the running, 4 drivers in the battle for the championship as we begin the first of 2 drop weeks that drivers can take. Here's what the points would look like if the 2 worst races were dropped already. We're 10 races through in the season, so 8 races would count for these drivers. Sam Bachman, currently with a 50.6 lead on Dean Reynolds. 79 car not with us this evening as he's got the Super Dirt Car Series at Thunder Mountain tonight. Clay Christopherson 3rd in points, Joseph Grandy 4th. Looking at this roster, just Bachman and Grandy amongst the top 4 I see here, so could be interesting when it comes to the drops. 19th Open 358 cars with us here this evening. We are set to go for qualifying at I-55 in Pevely, Missouri. Week number 11 of the 12-week season for Monday Night Madness in the 2025 summer season in the Coast to Coast Racing League. First driver, as always, we'll watch the high side banger Patrick Spangler in the 31 take some time. 2 minutes to put up 2 laps. Show us what you got. Brandon Templeton, the number 31, will set the bar here first on lap number 1. He goes to a 12:9.96 on lap 1. Good time to set the bar. Patrick Spangler second, 13.4. Joseph Grandy second, a 13.12. We'll watch Hunter Grant, the 5.18. The Bandit, Randall Dixon second, 13.03. Jeff Barker third. Randall Dixon trying to improve. Same with Joseph Grandy, quickest of all drivers in Sector 1. He goes second quick, 8 thousandths off, 13.004. Randall Dixon up to second on lap number 2. 2 thousandths off Templeton. But quick time, Dylan Kinsey, DK in the 639 with a 12.992, 3 thousandths better. The driver of the 011, but Trevor Giroux, the Philly Flyer, says it's time to cook. 12.966. And how about Bud Molyneux, the Venom Racing driver? 12.975. Comes off for turn number 4. A slower lap, though, on lap number 2. 13.142. Brandon Dittmer, 83, car off of turn 4 in the green in sector number 2. Does not have a better lap, though, 13.085 on lap number 2. One driver not taking time here in qualifying, and that is Brennan Lacey, the low-line master in the 114. So Trevor Giroux, the Philly Flyer, the Full Throttle Motorsports 075, the quickest in qualifying. Here's how our normal night of action, the Coast to Coast Racing League, works. We have the 3 heat races for the drivers here this evening for our Open 358 division. So that gives us 19 cars. We invert the top 4 prior to taking the green flag for our heat races. Normally top 4 transfer, but our car count is under 25. So all drivers will transfer into the show. Feature tonight is 30 laps for each division. The Renegades, though, which is our top 360 sprint class division, that is set for 35. Heat race number 1 brought to you by Gambler Motorsports. Here's how the field lines up. Gambler, official team of the Coast to Coast Racing League. Kelly Wheeler has it on pole in the number 110. To his outside, it's the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83. Row number 2, B-Temp, Brandon Templeton in the 31. Next to him, it's the Philly Flyer, Trevor Giroux in the 75. Row number 3, Brian Moore, senior in the 055. Next to him, it's Pat Boyce, the 41. Starting tail here in this heat race, the lowline master, Brendan Lacey in the 114. As we get set to go racing, let us know who you're rooting for in the chat on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Want to give big shout-outs as well. These two aren't able to make it tonight. Obviously, I mentioned Dino earlier, as he's got SDS competition at Thunder Mountain in Center Lyon. Also, a hello to Mike Brewer and the Brew Crew. Brewer also at Thunder Mountain, I believe, watching someone that also drives that he's very close with. So here we go for the first heat race. 8 laps, winner on pole position for tonight's 30-lap feature. We're set to go here at I-55. The green is out. Wheeler able to clear Dittmer, who scrapes the wall down the back chute, just about 3 wide for the race lead. Templeton tries to shows underneath on Kelly Wheeler, but they 110 leads lap number 1. A big mess off of turn 2. A lot of contact between Templeton, Giroux, and Dittmer. Everybody keeps her straight. Dittmer up on the cushion. Not really working out for him right now as he's plummeting down the leaderboard, down the 4th spot in the wall once again. Company from Brian Moore Sr. and Pat Boyce in that spot. Just about 3 wide going off the corner, but it's still Kelly Wheeler, your leader, over Brandon Templeton by a 1/4 of a second. Dittmer no yaw in the corner, and he scrapes the wall and puts him down to last on the grid. Giroux. It's going to be Boyce trying to get a chance on Brian Moore Sr. or the other way around in the race for 4th. A challenge for the race lead by Brandon Templeton. And same with Trevor Giroux, the Philly Flyer, quickest car on track, as he tries to rip the lip in 3 and 4. Look at that. Very little room for error. Great defense from Templeton, and how Giroux did not go up on 2 wheels, I don't know. Top 3, all nose to tail, all under a blanket. Templeton tries to send her deep into 3 and 4. Wheeler still clearing away, but beat top of the wall. White flag waves, final lap. That may have just done it there for the Philly Flyer. C looks for second, tries to slap it out and puts the 31 on the wall and destroys the front end. Checkers wave, Kelly Wheeler wins Heat 1. And that put the 31 all the way down to 6th in the end. And I tell you this, I don't think he's going to be happy one bit at Trevor Giroux. Get a quick look at the replay and show you what happened. You know, from that angle, looks like netcode, because normally with slight contact like that, you know, the driver's just going to keep it straight, but that looked like netcode to me. I don't know. But anyway, regardless of that, Heat 2 here is set to roll, and it's brought to you by Regency Home Inspections. Here's the starting lineup as the Bird to Beast. Jeff Barker on the pole in the 513. Next to him, it's Hunter Grand, Joseph Grandy in the 518. Row number 2, the Bandit, Randall Dixon in the 011. Next to him, it's Bud Molyneux in the 883. Final row, Rick Main in the 187, and Bob DeGood in car number 7. So heat race number 2 for our Open 358s brought to you by Venom Racing and Full Throttle Motorsports. Green flag. Winner starting the outside, the front row is We're Green. Good jump by Joseph Grandy. He clears Jeff Barker for the early race lead. Molyneux, great lap in qualifying. Now tests the top here on Jeff Barker in the race for the second spot. Close quarters racing off for turn number 2. Can Molyneux get the clear on Jeff Barker? The Bird to Beast fighting back going into turn number 3. Across the line, the 883 edging out Barker. Randall Dixon currently in that 4th and what normally would be the final transfer spot. You saw Dixon just about tap the wall going across the line. Barker still trying to grab bite. He's got a lot of company from one of the top drivers in the Open 358s in the Bandit. Halfway home in heat race number 2, 4 up and 4 down. Grandy leading by a half second over Bud Molyneux at the moment. Ooh, Molyneux got a little bit sideways with that 883. That allows Dixon to close in big time. Went deep into turn number 1, on board with him. How's he set this up? Keeps her high, wide, and handsome through 3 and 4 in Peevely, Missouri. As he taps the wall once again, hangs onto it, 2 to go. Good low line from that 883. Molyneux able to pull away just a little bit. White flag waves, final lap for Joseph Grandy in the Inferno Motorsports number 518. But that race for second, still a tight one between Molyneux and Dixon. Who's going to take it? Dixon tested out on the second groove. Molyneux comes up to block off the corner. Molyneux takes second from Randall Dixon. Barker 4th to good 5th and main 6th here. Heat 2 winner though, Joseph Grandy in the 518. Now we move to heat race number 3, brought to you by Maurer Farm Management. Here's a look at the starting lineup. On the pole, Randy Shreves in the 56. Next to him, it's Sly Job Scotty. Scott Rayome in the 4. Row number 2, the Sam Aconda, Sam Bachman in the 007, and DK Dylan Kinsey in the 639. Final row, Harold Klump in the 2, and the high side banger, Patrick Spengler in the 39. Scotty's become a regular face to meet up with, by the way. Saw him at Weedsport on Sunday last week in Land of Legends. Caught up with him for a little bit. He and Dean are probably the top 2 guys I normally see in person all the time, so they're coast-to-coast regulars. Speaking of which, for those of you that came out to Weedsport last night or watched on Dirt Vision, not just the big blocks but also the CRSA sprints, definitely appreciate you tuning into competition. That was a fun night. Still a little tired from last night. with it being late, but it was well worth it. We had 48 cars in the pits, and I say a lot from time to time. I say a lot from time to time that, you know, that a lot of the CRSA stuff I took over from coast to coast. So it's been a lot of fun. So, all right.
Green, green, green.
Final heat race. Green flag is out. Ryoma really checks out like a bat out of hell to the early race lead. Shreves and Bachman duking at it for the second spot on the racetrack. Kinsey in fourth off for turn number 4, lap 1, led by Scott Ryome. Bachman, current points leader with the drops in effect, went deep into turn 1. Can Shreves clear here? No, he cannot. They stay wheel to wheel through turns number 3 and 4. And Bachman edging out Shreves by a hair there across the line. Kinsey tries to test the top out here, see if he can close it a little bit on both Shreves and Bachman. Leaders all just about single file now. Bachman trying to defend downstairs, see if he can get some bite off the rear tires. Going off turn number 2. Kinsey trying to do something on Shreves. Remember, 1 spot up in the heat races is 3 more spots towards the feature tonight. What can DK do on Randy Shreves for third? Off the corner, Shreves still edging out that 6:39. 3 laps to go in heat race number 3. Here comes the high side banger. Meanwhile, Patrick Spangler trying to take away the 4th spot and maybe even 3rd. 2 laps to go. The FTM drivers 1 and 2, and it's the FTM Express out in front. Scotty with a 0.3 of a second lead on the Samaconda. Bachman trying to go deep into turns number 3 and 4. Now hitting the inside wall. Final lap underway in heat 3. Ooh, Bachman taking a chance out on Scott Ryome. They won't make a lot of contact. You may see it here in the race for 3rd in the end. Off for turn 4. Ryome takes the win in heat 3. At the line, too close to call for 3rd. Oh my goodness, Shreves and Kinsey were tied. That's at the 10,000th mark. Let's see who got that. It was Kinsey by 0.03 of a second. The SDK live timing goes a little bit earlier compared to the iRacing timing. So whenever you get those super close finishes, you got to be careful about that. All right, step aside and take our first break of the night. When we come back, first feature on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Welcome back to the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Warm-ups are continuing. Actually, they just wrapped up. Sam Bachman quickest, 13:031. Brendan Lacey second, 13:05. Trevor Giroux, Kelly Wheeler, Joseph Grandy each a 13:07, 3 through 5. So we've got 19 drivers set to take the green flag. Let's meet the field and give you your starting lineup. On the pole, Kelly Wheeler in the 110. Next to him, it's the 100 grand, Joseph Grandy in the 518. Row 2, it's Slide Job Scotty. Scott Rayome in the 4. To his outside, the Philly Flyer, Trevor Giroux in the 75. Row 3, Bud Molyneux in the 883. Next to the Samaconda, Sam Bachman in the 007. Row 4, Brian Morris Sr. in car 55. To his outside, it's the Bandit, Randall Dixon in the 11. Rounding out your top 10, DK Dylan Kinsey in the 639. Next to him, it's the Lowline Master, Brendan Lacey in the 114. The 6th row, the Brew to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. Next to Randy Shreves in the 56. Row number 7, Pat Boyce in the 41. To his outside, Bob DeGood racing the 7. Row 8, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler in the 39. Next to him, it's B-Town, Brandon Templeton in the 31. The 9th row, Rick Main in car number 187. Next to him, it's Harold Klump racing the 2. Final car on the grid, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83. As we get set to go racing, let's know who you're rooting for in the chat tonight. Picks to win. I'm going to go with that man starting second, Joseph Grandy in the 518. Looks fast. Steve King Foundation Pace Truck turns on the pit road. First time tonight that it is time to shake and bake. Wheeler, Grandy, bring us to green. It's time to get it on. Flatline Racing Bodies, green flag, 30 laps around Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. Lap number 1, led by Joseph Grandy, who takes the early lead away. Trevor Giroux, Scott Rayome, the FTM teammates battle for third. Now the Philly Flyer wants a crack at Kelly Wheeler for the second spot. Meanwhile, they're just about 3 and 4 abreast through turns number 3 and 4. Oh, Giroux scrapes the wall in turn number 2, hangs onto it, stays in third. Meanwhile, you've got your points leader battling for fourth with Scott Rayome. Let's see what Bachman can do. He grabs the bite off the corner. There's still 3 wide mid-pack. Giroux around the outside, has the third spot. Now tries to close in on Kelly Wheeler, but look at all this massive cars here. Back out 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 all the way around Peevely, Missouri. Kind of gives you that Limaland-like feeling. Just a little bit longer, though. Right now, the top 4 drivers, though, mostly single file at the moment. This is on board with Rayome in the 4. He's up to that Canadian maple syrup above Giroux. Looks underneath. Let's see if he can grab it off the corner. No, he can't. Giroux ripping the cushion. Nothing there. Let's go to the first side-by-side battle. Dylan Kinsey, Brendan Lacey. That's the race for the 8th spot. Lacey, really fast car a couple weeks ago at the Eldora Speedway. We'll see what he's got in it this weekend. Very tight racing along with him and Bud Molyneux in that Venom 883. Randy Shreves up there as well. This is the battle for 7th. Oh boy, that is tight. Kinsey nearly with no yaw. Could have made some contact with the 114. Phenomenal stuff going into turn number 3. Near contact there once again. Molyneux still hanging on to P7. Let's go back up near the front here. Bachman, Randall Dixon. Battle for the final spot inside the top 5. A good night for Bachman. Would set him up beautifully for next week at Houston Speedway for championship night. But Grandy maintained a consistent lead on Kelly Wheeler, Delta at a half second. Up trouble, Jeff Barker, the 513, first yellow waves on lap 13. First replay here of the night brought to you by Malcolm's Mill Riding. Let's see what happens here going down the front chute. Oh, just caught the inside retaining wall all by himself. A little bit too low, and around he went. Right on board. Barker going to take the quick repair to play it safe than sorry as we await the restart. Doubled up, Grandy selects the bottom here for this restart. We're back to green. Able to hold serve on Kelly Wheeler. Look at Trevor Giroux. Pretty good at firing on these restarts. We'll see if he can grab second from the 110 of Wheeler. 2x2 by 3 wide. Brendan Lacey in the middle in a battle for the 6th spot with Randall Dixon and Sam Bachman. Oh boy, that's tight. Everybody find a way to hang on. Look at this mess. Looks a lot like Thunder Mountain on a regular Saturday night with how tight they are. Ooh, little bumper cars. Dixon. Bachman, Shreves, up the hill goes the 011. Randy Shreves puts up the chrome horn and he's up to 7th. Right now he's one of your bigger movers of this race so far, but the biggest one is Brandon Dittmer. That 83 ride is up 7. Oh, big crash further back. Maine, Spangler. Clump, Boyce, no caution. Are you kidding me? Now it comes out. I swear, if that was not going to be a yellow, we would have big time problems with iRacing. Look at the replay. Boyce taps the wall and Maine with a slight contact there. Spangler nowhere to go, and we also see Harold Clump catch a piece of that one too. Let's go on board with Barker. Barker in the back of this pack here, minding his own P's and Q's. On the outside, nowhere to go. Harold Clump on board. Now, he's just on the bottom, just sticking to it. And checks up, contact with the gun, and he gets spun from behind. So Joseph Grandy selects the bottom here for this restart. Set for the restart, back to green. Big checkup, Rayome and Wheeler getting together, 3 wide. Shreve stuck in the middle of this sandwich. The great race for the 6th spot. Rayome, some more contact with Giroux. 3x3, everybody leaning on another. But Molyneux trying to find his way through up near the front. Same with Brendan Lacey. The top two have no idea what they're missing here at I-55. Holy moly, people, he's getting crazy. Holy 5 wide off for turn 4, and Brandon Templeton pays the price. The quick timer, well, the first one out on the track went around, and that brings us to yellow. Look at what happened here to B-Temp. Who just caught the bandit of Randall Dixon, and in the end, Templeton, in fact, pays the price. So we'll rack them, stack them once again, and that will put us to single file the rest of the race as well, as we've already had 2 double file restarts. Set for the restart here, 10 laps to go at Pevely, Missouri for the Open 358s. It was a single file restart, Grandy able to hold serve. Wheeler second, Giroux third, Rayom fourth, and Brendan Lacey now up to fifth, finds his way past Sam Bachman. And now Bachman trying to rip the top here, but he's got company from his teammate Dylan Kinsey in the battle for sixth. Joseph Grandy opening up the gap for right now at the moment at 0.4 of a second on Kelly Wheeler, still having an incredible run right now with his Open 358. Kelly only with 1 win in the Open 358 series, came back in February of 2024 at Knoxville Raceway. He would love to end that winless streak tonight. Although he's got 15 as a whole in his career. But the field is all drained out. With 5 laps remaining for Joseph Grandy. He's led every lap so far tonight. After starting second, the gap at 0.6 of a second. Nearly the biggest lead he has had tonight over anybody. Ooh, Giroux catches the wall. Rayom wants to take away the bottom step of the podium. Brendan Lacey wants to do the same thing as well. Battle for third on. Lacey gives Rayom a little bumper, stacks them up from fourth on back. Everybody hanging on for right now. Lacey off for turn number 2 with the bite. On slide job, Scotty. The low line master trying to do what the low line master does. He gets fourth, barely over Rayom at the stripe. Look at this wad of cars in the race for P4 at the end. This all allows Trevor Giroux to pull away. We're coming to the white flag already. White flag is out. Final lap underway as they battle for the 4th position. Lacey moves Rayom up the hill. They nearly touch up the wall. Go both of them. Bachman gets the wall. Kinsey up to 4th. They rock off the corner. Checker waves. Grandy wins. Wheeler second. Giroux third. Kinsey 4th. And where does Bachman finish? All the way down in 8th. And there are a lot of drivers that are going to be angry at each other after that. Holy moly. There's a lot of bumper tag going on there. So it's Joseph Grandy, your race winner. Came in 4th in the points, his 2nd win of the 2025 summer season with this class. But before we show you your results, let's look at the damage that happened here in the final laps of this one. Just a lot of hard racing for that 4th spot. Lacey leaning on Rayom. Rayom just trying to shut the door. And then they tag each other once again. Bachman left with nowhere to go. And then Scott's trying to save it, and he pays the price himself. And they're 3 wide across the line. Randy Shreve's the biggest winner in all of that as he moves up to 5th at the end. Your biggest mover, though, 1 short. Biggest mover was Brandon Dimmer, up 8 spots to finish in 11th. So Grandy wins by 0.7 of a second on Kelly Wheeler. Giroux 3rd, Kinsey 4th, Shreves 5th, Lacey 6th, Molyneux 7th, Bachman 8th, Moore Sr. 9th, and Randall Dixon 10th. A great race here for our Open 350s. And a great track, too, at Pevely, Missouri. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Thunder Mountain with inside walls, ironically, with that race being on right now. But let's get to the top 3. Let's talk to the 3rd place finisher, Trevor Giroux, the Philly Flyer. Trevor, take me through that one from your perspective. That looked like a lot of fun out there, especially near the end.
Yeah, it was getting a little dicey there. I mean, just guys doing what they have to do for a position on a track where, there's really not much moving around. Yeah, I mean, the top was there for a little bit, and like the heat races and maybe, I don't know, first 5 or 10 laps of the feature, but it was just kind of stuck to the middle after that. So it got, like I said, it got pretty dicey, and guys leaning on each other, doing what you have to do to make ground. And but other than that, it was pretty fun. I kind of wish this place was a little more racy. I mean, or like the races were a little longer, but yeah, I mean, other than that, it was fun. I mean, good run to Joseph and Kelly. It was can't complain too much. It was still pretty fun with I think me, Sam, and Scotty were three wide there, leaning on each other for a little bit, and we all kept her straight. So that's what it's all about.
Who do I give shout outs to?
I gotta give a shout out to all my teammates at FTM. There's a few of them in here: Dylan, Scotty, um, Sam. Good runs to those guys. Good runs to Joseph and Kelly. Shout out Dean Reynolds with the Super Dirt Car Series. Shaggy TV, you Marty for doing the broadcast. Expert Installation, Castleberry Flagstone. There's so many on my rides here. JRB Designs. Shout out everyone on this car here, and I just want to give just apologize to Brennan Templeton. I completely messed up. I got my right rear in the slick a little too much and just drifted up a little more than I wanted to. I did not mean to do that to him in the heat race. That's not how I race at all. I'm gonna go send him a message and apologize. So, but just wanted to make that clear. I did not mean to do that. So apologize to him, and yeah, thanks everyone at C2C for putting this stuff on.
You're a respectful man, that's for sure, Trevor. Great job. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Marty.
Alrighty. Trevor Giroux, your third place finisher. Let's go to Kelly Wheeler, who was very fast in his 110. Kelly, you were hoping for a chance to end that winless streak. Unfortunately, just didn't have it for Joseph Granny, but still a phenomenal run. Take me through it.
I don't know. Yeah, there one time I thought I was gaining on him a little bit. Then when caution came out, he just held his own, and I couldn't do nothing with him. Yeah, it was fun, exciting. I'm getting a little bit better on these slick tracks, so that's about all I can ask for.
Anything you remember about the any adjustments you made to the race car, or did you use a setup that wasn't the Swan baseline?
Yeah, I used Swan setup.
Sounds good. It turned out pretty well for you, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I have no trouble with his setups.
Who do I give shout-outs to on the run?
Well, first and foremost, I got to thank my wife for letting me sit in here do this. Whenever I get ready to do it, I can just hop on, hop off, do whatever I want, whenever I want. I got to thank all the FTM guys for letting me come over and hang out with them. And if I need to know anything, they'll tell me what I need to know or try to help me out any way they can. I got to thank DNS Side and Remodeling, Ingersoll Rand. I got to thank C2C for giving us a good place to race. I got to thank you for doing your broadcasting.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you go. Great job tonight on the run.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So Kelly Wheeler finishing in the second spot tonight. And now we'll move to victory lane. Talk with your winner, Joseph Grandy, second win of the season. Man, you looked good out there tonight. Flawless. You missed a good show, though, behind you. But, hey, it doesn't matter. You got the win.
Yeah, I knew getting to the lead there, the first turn of the race was key to win there, and might have squeezed him a little bit, but had to do what I had to do, and after that, it was smooth sailing.
Where'd you feel your car was better than everyone else tonight?
I don't think it was really better than anybody else. That track's so locked down that you have to move somebody. I just think I had a better start than Kelly there off the rip, and that's what got me to win.
Who do I give shout-outs to on the run tonight?
All the guys over at Inferno, Catalytic Recovery, West End Tone and Repair, Hinkle Homes, A&J Custom Creations, D&T Designs, Mad Rabbit, Highline Cinematography, all the guys at FTM and Venom for the putting this on, and all the guys at Coast to Coast, and you, man, for doing the broadcast.
Alrighty, we will let you... Oh, you forgot Olivia. You forgot Olivia.
I did. She's going to slap me.
Yes, she
my
is.
beautiful girlfriend, Olivia.
There you go. There you go. Good man, Joseph. Congrats on the win. Well done.
Thanks, Marty.
So Joseph Grandy takes the victory here. We are going to step aside, go to break. Heads up, we are going to actually restart the stream. Apologies for the technical difficulties.